That pretty much sums it up. The trade request after unsuccessful attempts to reach a new deal with the Niners, the 2020 first-round pick. Now, he is set to earn just over $14 million this season. It is the final season of his rookie deal. And this request comes a week before the veterans are supposed to report to camp. Stay tuned for that. 3 weeks, though, after Aiyuk and the team met in Santa Clara to discuss the situation. And here is part of the issue. When you look at the dollars that top receivers have been getting, it's the second highest paid position group behind quarterback. Justin Jefferson, of course, the monster, well-deserved contract, followed by A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, all of them making $30 million or more a year, and Hill's teammate Jalen Waddle ranking fifth at $28.3 million. Field. The Niners have said they will not trade Aiyuk, but who should be calling them anyway?
All right, Hannah, I feel like it's a responsibility for me to say the Commanders because we know that he is best friends with Jaden Daniels, has access to their practice film apparently as well. I'll give you one more that I think is just far too logical to dismiss. It's the Patriots, a team who certainly is looking for an established number one wide receiver, just drafted Drake Maye, and they don't want a repeat of what happened with Mac Jones, which was promised early in his career, eventually derailed in part because of a lack of established pieces around Mac Jones. So if you're the Patriots, Brandon Aiyuk is young enough where it's not like he is about to exit the prime of his career. He very well may not have reached the prime of his career. He can age with Drake Maye whenever Drake Maye becomes a starter, which I think will be at some point during the middle of this upcoming season. They have tons and tons and tons of cap space. Basically, their entire offseason has been keeping the powder dry other than extending or renegotiating deals for players already on their roster. To me, New England makes a whole lot of sense. I still am dubious, though, that a trade actually goes anywhere with any team involving San Francisco and Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, the Patriots obviously have the cap space and the need. A team that doesn't necessarily have the cap space, but might even have a bigger need for a star wide receiver, are the Los Angeles Chargers, who moved on from Keenan Allen and Mike Williams this offseason. 32nd in my offseason playmaker rankings. Have a roster that I imagine can win now if Jim Harbaugh does the magic he pulled in San Francisco and now in Los Angeles. But he is such a complete player, I think, is what really appeals to me and would appeal to Jim Harbaugh. Not a guy who necessarily wants that flashy star receiver, but what he can do not only as a pass catcher, but as a blocker. Watch him on this play against the Seahawks, a long Christian McCaffrey run from last year. He is 50, 60, 70 yards downfield, making blocks to extend this play, nearly produce a touchdown. Off camera, he is celebrating like he just won the Super Bowl on this run where he's blocking downfield. That is infectious. That is why he had to grow earlier in his career when he was briefly benched by the 49ers. And that is why I think he would appeal to a coach like Jim Harbaugh, even if Jim Harbaugh's not necessarily looking to trade first-round picks for wide receivers.
I mean, box office there, too, in L.A., right? You have to have entertaining players.
I had not thought about the Chargers at all, part of the brilliance of Bill Barnwell. And I will say this, too, and I mentioned this a couple of days ago here on NFL Live. I think this dynamic has to be acknowledged if trade talks are ever going to get anywhere seriously between the 49ers and somebody else. It can't be a team that plays in the NFC that's got a shot to win big this year. They're not trading Brandon Aiyuk, and I'm just making this up hypothetically, to the Lions or something, right? It can't be a team in the AFC that is viewed as a Super Bowl caliber team either. The 49ers are not in the business of making the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs better right now, especially because if they're getting draft picks back, those draft picks do nothing for them for this 2024 critical year. So the Chargers, while a team that I do think with Brandon Aiyuk would envision themselves as being a capable playoff team, is relatively far away, not in geographic terms from the 49ers, but a relatively non-threatening AFC team that likely, if the 49ers make it back to the Super Bowl, they're not going to have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers already jettisoned two very highly paid receivers, so I love the idea in theory, though.
That highlight tape that Bill just put together,
yes.
Harbaugh saw that. Yeah, and there might be a brick wall that's now broken in Los Angeles.
We'll see. We'll see if they have the dollars to make Brandon Aiyuk happy and give him what he feels he deserves. All right, let's move on to another top 10 list from Jeremy Fowler on ESPN.com as he talked to front office executives and scouts around the league. Top 10 at each position. And since we're talking wide receivers, let's stay right here. Of course, you know JJ's number 1. Tyreek Hill is 2. Jamar Chase 3, followed by CeeDee Lamb and the aforementioned Devontae Adams. A.J. Brown ranking 6, followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, and Brandon Aiyuk, who we just talked to. So, Bill, let's spin this forward. Who is not on this list now that you think will be there after the upcoming season?
I believe a guy with unlimited potential is George Pickens, a player who has not had consistent quarterback play in Pittsburgh, but in terms of his production over the last couple of years, he's caught 16 more passes than an average receiver would have caught on those same throws. Only guys who have more relative around the league are Justin Jefferson, Devontae Smith, and CeeDee Lamb. Those guys are absolute superstars because they play with better quarterbacks. Now with Deontay Johnson out of the lineup and in Carolina, the path is clear for George Pickens to have a monster share of the passing workload. If the Steelers get anything out of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields this year, Pickens is going to be the guy most likely to benefit.
Bom, gente, o Márcio agradece franca e fala em desafio diferente no basquete europeu. Pivô de 21 anos defenderá o alemão Ratiofarm e terá a oportunidade de disputar no segundo principal campeonato da Europa. Bom, gente, o pivô Márcio falou em desafio diferente sobre a sua primeira experiência no basquete europeu. Na temporada de 2024 e 2025, o jogador ele vai atuar pelo alemão Ratiofarm. Isso aí. Antigo clube de jogadores brasileiros com Cris Felício, Iago e Georginho. O sentimento de jogar na Europa é diferente, no caso, uma experiência, que eu nunca tive, né? Pude vir para um time como que teve uma estrutura boa. É um desafio diferente. Vou agarrar com tudo que eu tiver e ir para cima. É uma experiência que estava pensando, querendo há muito, né? E sentir o que era o momento certo. No caso, ele estava querendo há muito tempo e ele sentiu também que era o momento certo. Comentou o jogador de 21 anos. Bom, gente, o time alemão ele disputará nesta temporada a Bundesliga. Bundesliga, né, gente? Esse nome mesmo. A competição local, além da Copa da Alemanha, a Eurocup, né, segundo o torneio mais importante do continente, atrás apenas da badalada Euroliga. Embora um novato do velho continente, né, Márcio carrega a experiência de ter participado do draft da NBA no ano passado, caraca, e também de Summer League pelo Atlanta Walker. O cara tem uma experiência boa, gente. No Brasil, o pivô deixará saudades em França, onde foi tricampeão do NBB, acho que assim fala, campeão da Champions League das Américas e da Copa Internacional da FIBA. Internacional não, gente, meu Deus. Intercontinental da FIBA. Na última temporada, conseguiu seu melhor desempenho e foi peça fundamental no título nacional, com médias de 13,1 pontos e 6,4 rebotes. Enfim, gente, essa foi a notícia. Espero que todos tenham gostado e entendido. Não deixem de se inscrever no canal e de deixar o seu like. E até a próxima. E até a próxima, gente. Um beijo aí a todos vocês.